close it out with one final question, Mr. Linney, what do you have for Matt?
You don't know this about me, Matt, but a fellow half Ironman guy.
So got the competition in the house.
So I signed up for 3 last year. Never done even one.
Yeah. Okay.
They all got canceled.
Yeah.
I ran my half Ironman by myself.
Good.
I couldn't swim because all the pools were closed, but I did the extra miles riding and biking. And I was listening to an interview with Chad Wright and Andy Frisella. Chad Wright does ultra marathons, 265 miles in one day, all that kind of stuff. And Andy looked it up and he said, man, must be hard. Bud's training, Navy SEALs, all that running. He goes, not really. He goes, because it was just one foot in front of the other. And so I know, like you and I, through my training, that the saying is you versus you. That's the only training that I know about. So when I'm staring at the guy in the mirror. So when you're having those tough days and you don't want to do it and you have all this stuff on your plate, what do you tell yourself that you can share with everybody else that would give them some motivation to go on about their day in those tough times?
So I got a couple things I'd say to this. First, whenever you do your first one, tell me where it is, when it is, and I'd love to be there. And I'd love to go.
I actually have been told by my chiropractor I cannot run anymore. So, but if you want to go cycle 100 miles, hey, wait for it. So here's your choices: in New Zealand or Tuscany.
Yes.
Okay. See, I knew it. Yes. All the above.
There's a race down there in Big Bend in Texas. It's 400 miles in the Big Bend National Park. We'll have to nerd out about that. So there's a couple things I would say. What do I tell myself? There's 2 things I would tell myself, but I'm going to preface it with this. When I was going into my first Ironman, my coach told me that the hard work has already been done. The race itself, when I tell people 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, 26.2 mile run, 140.6 miles, they're like, you do that all in a day, all in a single race, all in a single event? And the answer is yes. And I always tell them, that is the easiest part about that whole process. You know what's the hard part? The hard part is waking up at 3:00 on a Saturday morning, driving an hour out to go ride your bike for 100 some odd miles for 6-7 hours, jumping off the bike, going to run for an hour and a half afterwards, driving an hour back. So now you're 12 hours into your day, sleeping, waking up, going to run 5 hours the next day because you got to put in a run right after that. And the consistency of doing the grind is what makes that process hard. And that's why I say that you have to have something that you do consistently every day. And the times when you need to do it the most is when the times when you don't think you need to do it. Because what you're doing is you're building grit in that muscle and that callus around that habit that makes it easier. So 2 things I would say on what do I tell myself. When I coached football right out of high school. And one of the favorite things I loved about our head coach is he said, do you know why they make the football the way they do? Such a weird shape, right? It's because when you drop it, you never know where it's going to go. And that's how this game's going to be. I can't control the fans, can't control the refs. I can't control the plays. I can't control anything. There's going to be times where we catch breaks and there's going to be times where we don't catch breaks. The team that stays the most even through this process of 60 minutes is going to win the game. And that's it, right? So I would tell, and my coach told me that when I was going to my first Ironman, same thing. You're going to feel like crap during this, and you're going to feel awesome during this. When you feel awesome, check yourself and bring yourself back down a little bit. And when you feel like crap, just know that there's going to be a time where you get some Coke, you get some water, you get caffeine, and you're going to feel a little bit better. So it's about that, like staying consistent throughout the whole time. The second thing I will say, and it's an homage to Pat Summitt, and I heard this the other day. Pat Summitt really pioneered women's sports in America, I believe. She's one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time, also a UT alumni, and we'll have to sing some Rocky Top for Adam so he knows what we're talking about here. She was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and it was pretty quick. I mean, like a year and a half when she was an active coach, diagnosed to death. And I was listening to an interview one time from one of her players, and she said that, you know, what do you do, Pat? How do you get through this? How do you do? And she said, left foot, right foot, repeat. left foot, right foot, repeat. And I think that's it, right? 2020 taught us a lot about, it was about getting through, not necessarily accelerating or doing all these things. And that's where I go into the consistency phase. It's about finding a 5-minute task, because it's just left foot, right foot, repeat. Hope that answers the question.